Hello everyone, this is Babamots. Here comes another Homeworlds commentary. This is between Irather Nottell versus uh, AceNsleeve, and I didn't write down any context for this game, so this might just be a random encounter, though I think I've seen these two play each other before, so these may be friends that play frequently. At least at the, I, I should try to find out whether the uh, the rankings that are printed here in the game are their rankings at the time the game was played, which was August of 2022, or if these are their current rankings. I don't know, but I should find out. All right, so what do I call these people? So AceNsleeve is going to be Ace, and Irather Nottell is kind of a long name. I think I'll call them Irather. All right, Irather takes a yellow fortress. Ace takes, oh, well, that's interesting. A red-green small star Gemini. So their homeworlds are connected to each other. This game, I put this on my list of games to cast someday a long time ago. You may have noticed I've been casting a lot of them from August of 2022. I put a lot on my list then, and haven't added a lot since. Though I've been doing some at random. But this is probably why I picked this game. This is going to be pretty interesting. Based on these openings, so I don't like green stars, and I definitely don't like small Gemini. With small Gemini, you're accelerating two economies that you're going to have less access to than your opponent. Ace went second, and with a microverse, um, it's easy to make mistakes that put you in big trouble very early on. And Ace having gone second is going to be, you're a little behind in tempo for a while. So I don't like Ace's opening. If I had to guess who'd win right now, I'm going to bet on Rather. All right, Rather's turn. Building and building, not surprising. Rather immediately trading for red. When your homeworlds are connected, it can be very easy to lose very quickly if you don't have red. And while Ace doesn't have any yellow just yet, as soon as they do get yellow, they could be moving into Rather's home, and so Rather, I think, is wise to get red quickly. Also because red is a color that Ace has a star of, so it's harder for them to build lots of red. Okay, does Ace also get red? No. Rather could build that last small red and have a soft lock on the red economy. No, they'd build green instead. I would definitely have built that little red. Ace trading for yellow. They will need yellow to expand, but yeah, the red is, I think they still should have got, Ace should have got the red, or green is now causing a problem for them as well, which isn't surprising because of the home stars. So Rather has sort of locked Ace out of green. Ace is trying to gobble up the yellows quickly, so Rather will need to decide whether they want to put a green back in the bank, giving Ace another opportunity to trade for green, or if they want to risk getting locked out of yellow. Okay, they're spreading out the greens. They're going to try to hold on to the green advantage. They've also taken a red star, which takes the last small red, so Ace can't trade for red at the small level. Ace continuing the blue. Rather now starting to get mediums because they chose a color that was accelerated by the star. Ace. Oh, moving out to a medium green star. I kind of don't like that. That opens up, if they commit to this, that takes a medium green out of the bank, and Rather can sacrifice their G3 to build the last medium and build a large. Well, and another large. They'll come up ahead by a large ship, and this is very early for that to be happening. I think Ace should instead discover one of the advantages of a Gemini homeworld is that you can discover stars of two different sizes. I think they should discover large green instead, since Rather is dominating the greens, and that's one less large ship that Rather will get with their green dominance, I think. Nope. Instead, they're sticking with the medium. I think Rather should do a green shopping spree. Building the greens and greens. Yep, that looks really good. All right. How is Ace going to proceed? How are they even going to survive? They could trade their large blue for the large green, which is not attractive because it leaves it puts their only large ship the same color as one of their home stars, so they can easily be threatened. That threatens that they could move into Rather's homeworld for the catastrophe, but Rather can easily trade away one of these ships or even counterattack, and I think Ace ends up on the bad end of those situations. So I think Ace is just totally lost out on green. Okay, they do discover the last green star. So Rather can't get even more green advantage, but it's still not looking great for Ace. Okay. Ace didn't clean up the smalls in the colors where he had advantages, so Rather can come in and get a small blue, which does give Ace a chance potentially to trade a ship for green that they could, well, with all of the green pieces out of the bank, getting green is somewhat less important because there's nothing left in green to build. But even just having a green ship available to sacrifice for troubled situations can be very nice. But I bet Ace is instead going to build blue in Bleb or yellow. Rather has not got a yellow ship yet. That could come back to save Ace if Ace can get enough of the yellows that Rather struggles to make progress. Okay, they're thinking about trading this blue for green. I like that less than I like trading this blue for green, even though this blue in the colony looks pretty helpless. By doing it at home, Ace has made it so that Rather could, for example, move their large green into Ace's home. Well, yeah, oh, okay. You know what? I think they don't want to do that because Rather can't get back home. They don't have yellows for moving, for redefending their home with green or anything. So I would be worried about an immediate attack if I was Ace. I won't bore you with deciding whether or not from this position it's a good idea for Rather to invade, but that's something that Ace should at least have thought of. And if they didn't, then this could be a good time for Rather to attack. I'm not confident of that, though. Let's see what Rather decides. They're going to factory build, regain their green, build red and blue. Ooh. So that does put 3 blues at their homeworld, which is a little scary. Ace could, in fact, destroy Rather's home star and blue ships, but it would require moving in their only large ship to do it, and then Rather can counterattack. So they don't want to do that. So this is safe for Irather, but only just barely, I think. Okay, Ace. If I'm Ace, I think about building the medium blue in my home. Okay, pushing the yellows. I think it's good if you can get a really solid yellow dominance, but and it looks like that's what they're trying to do, but Rather has so many green ships that they would not mind trading away for yellow, and they've got access to blue. They could even sacrifice one of these small blues to trade large green for yellow. if Ace builds that green, then they put their home star at risk of overpopulation. Um, so making a run at the greens is, or sorry, it's seems fairly smart for Ace to make a run at all the yellows, but Rather is not going to have any trouble getting them if they feel like. Okay, spreading out the reds maybe, spreading out the blues instead. Okay. Ace, I guess they can just keep going with the building up you have yellows, since Rather doesn't seem concerned about that. Although they may have moved this blue to their colony so that they can trade one of these greens for yellow. That seems pretty wise. And they've got plenty of time. Ace can only build one yellow at a time because they don't have any green. They can't factory. So still looking good for Rather, I think. Okay, continuing the yellow build-up. I bet Rather trades trades a green for yellow. I would not hesitate to make it the large. Trade large green for large yellow. Ace can't build that green because they'll just get overpopulated. Building the blue. Okay. Rather may not want to put any. I don't know. They'll need some yellow at some point. Rather's going to have trouble winning this game if they don't get yellow eventually. Okay. Ace now. Oh, a sacrifice. That surprises me just a touch. I guess they're going to move their green into Alti. But I feel like Rather is in such a good position that the medium and small were more valuable to Ace than even those 3 ships were to Rather. Although that will free up the... Yeah, so there it goes. That does put a lot of greens back in the bank. So that gives Ace a second chance possibly to get in this and get some green. But Rather's material advantage is still looking really good. They've even got a color advantage. Rather has 3 colors. Ace only has 2. Okay, Rather trading in for yellow now. Ace does have an advantage in yellow, but Rather has greens to sacrifice to build lots of yellow at once if the need arises. Okay, Ace continuing to push the yellows. I don't know about that. From this position, if it's now Rather's turn, I think they sacrifice the G2 to build. I think I would build the Y3 in Alti, and I'd build an R2 back home, starting to cut Ace out of never getting reds and getting a large yellow. That looks pretty good. So I think Ace should take that back and find something else, but they don't. These players have not been restarting their turns much or at all. So I don't know what that indicates, but they're confident. That's what it indicates. All right, sacrificing the G3. Interesting choice. I don't know what they would build. They're not going to end... Well, you know what? Rather doesn't really need to keep a large at their homeworld because Ace has no red. And Rather doesn't have a red home star. So there is no particular need to defend against incoming large ships. Why not? Okay, sacrifice your G3. Go for it. Building the Y3. I think it's important to have a large ship of some description. Building green and building blue. Okay. That's an interesting choice. Yeah, like I was saying, I would have preferred to sacrifice the G2, the medium, rather than the large green, that is, so that I would be able to retain my large green and build a large yellow and have more yellow ships. But that's not what Rather is liking, and they commit to it. All right, let's see what Ace does. I would be a little tempted here Ooh. I would be more than a little tempted to move my little blue into Rather's home. I think I would strongly consider sacrificing this Y2 to move the B1 into Rather's home. It's an equal material reduction, a medium and a small, but Rather loses a home star, and they only have one blue ship left. That looks pretty good. Okay, that's my pick. Nope, they want to trade for green. Ooh, I definitely don't like that move. If Ace trades for this green, now they've got two greens in their homeworld, including a star. Rather has two greens available to move in to Ace's home. Rather sacrifices Y2 to move in both greens for an overpopulation, and Ace no longer has access to green at their home, which is scary. They commit to this. Okay, does Rather like the invasion? No, they're trading for green. Okay. This is interesting. So they're both very interested in fighting for the greens, it seems like. Yeah, that's the other thing, is Ace, by trading for this green, they opened up the larger greens, Rather traded for the medium, and now it's larges that are available. Ace can't build them, but Rather can. So Rather just went, so now it's Ace's turn. If I'm Ace, I think I move this G1 to a small system of any size. Doesn't matter. I'd move it to a small yellow. A new small yellow system so that it can't be bothered. Well, let's see. Gosh. There's nowhere they can move it that it can't get pestered. But I would want to move it to a place where I can build a G3 if Rather allows it. And I'm trying not to lose fact either of the fact that Ace still has no red. Has no red ships, so they can't defend themselves at a colony. They don't have any colonies with red stars either. Ace is depending entirely on the red star at their home. All right, what does Ace come up with? Building a B2. I think they still should have moved into Rather's home with the small blue. Oh, that still I think was the correct move. What I was saying before about moving a G1 to a new system, that's a backup. But destroying Rather's home star, I think, is still the right thing. But it was better before they traded away the Y1 they had previously, because back when they had that Y1, they could put Rather down to a situation where they only had a yellow home star. Rather's only large ship is yellow, so if they reinforce with their large ship, they'll have to trade it to another color or put themselves in a lot more danger. They're destroying the large star, so Rather's home would be connected to this colony where Ace has yellows, and Ace would still have one yellow left at their home to continue building more yellow for the sacrifice and moving in again. I think Ace would be in a really... I think I would actually bet on Ace winning if they would just destroy not Rather's home star, but they don't seem to like that plan. Or they don't notice. All right, Rather, now what are you going to do? I think Rather builds a G3 in Alti. Oh. Sacrificing the Y3. Where could this go? I guess... Oh, so one place this could go is moving two greens into Ace's home to destroy the star. All right, but they've got one move left. What do they do with that? Spreading out their blues. Okay. Yeah, which they needed to do at some point because of the threat I've done nothing but mention. Okay. Ace's turn. Oh boy. Ace can try to get into the reds to keep Rather from ever having enough red to destroy their home star. Ace can look for a way to counterattack. Ace has the only blue ship currently in the game, so that's pretty good. But I don't know if it'll be enough to get much done here. They'll need some red. If I'm Ace, my choice is trade blue for red. Final answer. Okay, they counterattacked immediately. That ship can't actually do anything to Rather, though, because Ace has no red. Um, if I'm Rather, I would consider destroying. I think what I would do here if I was Rather, without a whole lot of time to think about it, I sacrifice my G2, build a B2 in my home, and then build a B3. Well, not so sure about this. I was going to say then build a B3 here in Alti, and then trigger the catastrophe in my home. I lose my home star, but the invader is gone. There's no chance of them starting to capture things. And I've got a large ship back. The problem with that is that Ace could then sacrifice a yellow to move another blue into my colony, and suddenly I've got nothing but oh geez, that's worse than I thought. Suddenly I've got nothing except for red ships at a yellow system, and that's really ugly. That's going to be really hard to rebuild and come back from. Okay, so never mind. Don't catastrophe the invader. Let's see what Rather does decide. They were thinking about it. They sacrificed the G2, but then they took it back. Okay. They're trading their blue for green. I don't actually think that's a great idea. Well, maybe it is. My first thought was that Rather's only real defense against this blue invader is to have some blue so that they can overpopulate if they need to. But Rather can just trade this for some other color if they feel like. So Rather, I think I just misnamed them. So Ace could trade this big blue for another color if they feel like to avoid the catastrophe. They could trade it for yellow, for example. So Rather, by trading the blue for green, now has access to all 4 technologies in their homeworld, which is pretty good. They can build more red, for example. Red not being a color that Ace has any of still. That might be my my thumbnail image, something about who needs red. All right, Ace, what do you do now? I'm Ace. I, again, say trade blue for red. Okay, they traded blue for red, but not the one that I think they should. I think they should have traded this blue. The red, this is something I think new players especially get wrong in my mind. The red is actually more powerful if it is not the invading ship. By making your invading ship red, you can now capture one ship at a time. And in Rather's position, they can just capture it right back. So Ace captures a ship, Rather captures it back, it's a draw. And maybe Ace would be happy with a draw. That would be a good reason to do this. But by trading this B2 for a red, Ace is now threatening to capture all of Rather's red in their homeworld by sacrificing that red too. So it's stronger if the red powering your invasion is not the same as the invading ship itself. But yeah, Ace commits to that trade. If I'm Rather, a couple of things. One is Rather could build red and overpopulate this invader, in which case Rather is pretty darn comfortable, actually. The material is about even overall, but Rather has an intact homeworld, and I think Rather would go on to win. Rather could instead try to prevent Ace from trying this draw-like scenario where they trade a ship back and forth, trading for yellow, trying to push red into Ace's home, but they haven't got enough red. I it simplifies everything if they just catastrophe the invader. I think they should build red and do it. Sacrifice G2 to build and build a green. Yeah, that's all right. I think I would have preferred just building the red at my homeworld without the sacrifice. I liked having a G2 in Alti better than a G1 in my home, I think. Now the ships in Alti are susceptible to invasion by a medium ship. So I think Rather could have been better off, but that's still probably the best move. Okay. What does Ace do now? Build blue, build yellow. Get some red, maybe. Sacrificing the yellow to move a blue back home. That's all right. I think I would have preferred to just build a B2 in Bleb, since Rather wouldn't be able to overpopulate. I don't know. This is an unusual situation. This doesn't look like a normal game at all. So it's hard to tell what's best. All right, what does Rather do now? They build green again. All right, Ace still does not have red if... Ace is 2 moves from having a really, really good position. If Ace traded this blue for red, I don't think that's actually a good idea. I think they should trade it for green. But if they did trade for red and Rather didn't react by getting a red, Ace moves their red into Rather's home and starts capturing everything. But Rather does have time to react to that, so it's probably not actually a good idea. I think Ace should trade their blue for green at home. No, I think this is another premature blue invasion. All Rather has to do here is trade anything they have for red. Yep. And now Ace is too late. They came in while they didn't have red, so Rather had a turn to react. They got red, and now Ace should leave. Ace should bring that blue right back to their home. It could be worse than invading Alti. By invading that colony, they'll capture things. Well, no, they won't even capture things. If they capture something, then Rather can just capture it back. But honestly, I think if they do this, Rather would be reasonably happy sacrificing their green to blow up Ace's medium. Ace does have a bit of a material advantage in this case, in that event, but I think Ace has been killing too much time here. All right, what does Rather do? Do they don't absolutely have to respond. If Rather would be happy with a draw, they can just let Ace capture one of these ships and then they can capture it back. And they can alternate until they draw, if they feel like it. But Rather, I think if I'm Rather, I don't worry too much about these blues. I think I build red. Red is really what he's going to need to destroy Ace's other star here. Building the green instead. All right. That's okay, I suppose. Ace takes the blue, and Rather can just capture it back. Yeah, they capture it back. So now the question is, which player wants a draw? I think Ace is still farther behind, even though they've got 2 medium ships compared to Rather's 1. But being down a home star, I think, still puts Ace a little bit behind. I think Ace should be happy with a draw. Rather needs to find a different solution. Ace wants to trade for a green. Yeah, that's not bad. The greens aren't far from opening up into larges, and ace would like to be ready if that happens. That's pretty good. I always think it's a little funny when a game devolves to the point where mediums are the new large. The mediums are serving like larges would in a normal game, a typical game, defending the homeworlds and pestering colonies like this. Okay, rather spreading out the greens. So both of them are now prepared to build a large if the other builds a medium. So I tend to think that that means neither player is going to build that medium. I think that's a stalemate. Um, Rather should be more willing to break that stalemate than Ace, because if Rather builds the medium green and Ace builds a large, Rather can then build the other large safely. Ace only has one place to build green, so they should not be building that medium. Okay, Ace should instead, I would pick build blue or build yellow. I might build yellow just because yellows are pretty close to opening up into larges, and Rather doesn't have any yellow at all yet. They build the green. Nope, nope, nope. Ace, it is not good for Ace to build that medium. They should have waited for Rather to build it, if anybody. Because this way Rather gets a large green, and Ace does not. Oh, Rather not. Rather doesn't want the Rather doesn't want the large green. They'd rather have a small yellow. I see that. I can see why you would want to get a yellow, because the yellows are going to open up into larges soon as well. But the green was open to larges right this minute. So there is no doubt in my mind that they should have built the large green. Ace then would not be able to build another green. They wouldn't get the large green. They would probably, if anything, they'd spread out their greens so that they could try to build it later, but then Rather could block that build by trading one of their smaller greens. And in a couple of turns, Rather has a large green marching into Ace's home. Ace has no large ships, and so Rather wins in a few turns. But instead, they're trading for a small yellow. I don't like it. Let's see how Ace responds. I think I would recommend building the medium blue. Oh, let's see. Sacrificing Y1 to move one of these greens to a new medium yellow system. Okay. Could be worse. But I don't like sacrificing the little yellow very much, since yellow is a nice color to be able to build because the larges are coming up. But what do I know? That's Ace's choice. All right. At least they have spread out their medium greens, so they have two places they can build green now. So at this point, there's a half stalemate over the greens. But both of them have two places to build green now, so whoever builds the small, the other player builds the large. The player who built the small gets a large, but then the player who doesn't build the small gets a second large ship. So this should be a stalemate, because whoever builds the small, the other player gets two larges. So nobody wants to start that sequence. Okay. Rather trading out for the yellow. I think that's fairly reasonable. That opens up the large yellows for Ace to build, but they'd have to sacrifice a green in order to do it. But I think they should be willing to. Okay, well, this... I'm not sure if this is the same ship that originally invaded Rather's homeworld, that used to be blue and then moved to Alti and then turned green and then sacrifice to move away. I think it's just done the whole tour of the universe here and has come back home where I think it should have been. At the time, when it was blue and it moved into Rather's homeworld, I said, no, they should just trade it for green. Well, they did. They just did it the hard way over the course of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 turns. But there it is at home and can build, and that's where it should be. All right, that puts... I think Ace should have built that large yellow, but instead they have blocked Rather from building large yellow by putting a yellow medium star back in the bank. Ace now has moved a second ship to their homeworld, so that if Rather did build a yellow in their home, Ace could move this yellow into Rather's home without losing control of their own homeworld. So that's nice, but nope, I don't like it overall. They should have built that large yellow. All right, this is a couple of games I've casted recently where people don't seem to want to build that large ship. All right, Rather's turn. If I'm Rather, I think I build red. The other colors open up something larger to my opponent. So I build red. Rather thinking about building yellow. Definitely don't like that. Both because Ace could build a large yellow themselves, or they could move their Y2 into Rather's home, and Rather is down to just one home star. They seem to think it's worth it. Well, but they commit to it, so what does Ace do? Does Ace build the Y3, or does Ace destroy Rather's home star? I think it's close. If Ace takes the large, then Rather also gets to build a Y3, and then at that point, Ace's G2 here in the colony is in danger of capture. It's a scary situation. So if Ace moves this Y2 into Rather's home, then Rather loses a star, but look at what Ace has left. He's got a green star, a green ship at a red star, green ship at a red star. Those are both Gilligans. They can't do anything. They won't get you back into the game. Their only hope at that point is this B1. This B1 that can build and then trade into other colors. And that ship is vulnerable to invasion by mediums, and it'll take them 2 turns to get a medium to defend themselves. So even the star destruction is not very good. I think Ace is looking at being destroyed soon. Let's see what they pick. They pick the large yellow build. Okay, I think Rather should sacrifice G1, either of them. Well, not this one, because that would put a small yellow back in the bank. They've got to sacrifice this G1 to build a Y3 and Alti. Really? Building a G1. People don't like building large ships here very much, apparently. Okay. So if I'm Ace, I've got the... Sorry, I did that too early. Ace has the choice of building green at either of these systems, or moving a yellow into Rather's home and blowing up their star. They're looking at the star demolition, which I think is very reasonable. Yep, that's pretty good. Rather now, though, is going to build a G3. I hope they do it in the colony, because if they do it at home, it'll get overpopulated by Ace's green. Okay. Yep, I think that's their best move. All right, Ace. What do you do now? So Ace is still in a funny position where it is difficult for them to get more color diversity because they've got yellow and green at a red star, so there's no blue here, no blue here. So it's hard for Ace to get red. Um, Ace, if I'm Ace, I guess I build a G3 in Alti. Or at home. I don't know which is better. I'll leave it up to them. At home. Aha, but at least they did build a large ship. If they had built a small yellow, I think I would have been pretty flustered. They've passed up a few opportunities to build larges. Okay, Rather. What do you like now? They, honestly, I think Rather should build, well, no, I take it back. I was going to say they should build a G3 in their colony here, but Ace could destroy it with a yellow sacrifice, and then Ace would have the only large ship in the game. So Rather should instead either spread out their greens or they should probably block Ace from building this other large in their colony. Man, is Ace going to bring this back? Ace has more large ships than Rather does. Rather needs to get a large to their homeworld before Ace can get red and a ship to Rather's homeworld. And they need to prevent Ace from building this G3. I don't know that they can do both at once. Okay, trading out for a yellow. That blocks the G3 build. Sort of. Yeah, it does. If Ace were to build both the small and the large greens, they'd have 3 someplace, which Rather can catastrophe cheaply. So that's all right. Ace should be looking into getting a red, I think, and so that they can think about invading Rather's home. All right, factory building with green, sacrificing the green to build green and blue. All right. Bleb has just now become a more attractive invasion target, and Rather actually has some red to power an invasion with. It's not nice to have to sacrifice your only red ship. Okay, Ace took it back anyhow. Sacrificing the green. They're thinking about a different combination. Restarting again. Sacrifice. Building yellow instead of that blue. That I don't like too much either. Rather can build this green 3 at home. So now they've got a defense, and for Ace to destroy it, I mean, they can. They can sacrifice their Y2 to move in a couple of greens to destroy the large that was just built, but looking at it from this position here, you're losing 2 mediums and a small to destroy Rather's small. And the large that they build, but it's better just to not let them build that. So I don't like this very much. They might take it back. They're taking a few moves back here. No, they commit to this. If I'm Rather, I'd definitely build that G3. Yeah, with the sacrifice, that's fine. And build a spare yellow or red. Either is good. Yellow. All right. I think you can... I feel like I see Ace struggling a little bit. Look, Rather's home looks so healthy right now. Lots of ships, lots of diversity. Ace has quite a few ships here, but they don't have blue, and they don't have any way to trade into red. Ace is struggling a bit. Maybe they should build blue. They can factory. They do at least have two greens together, so they could factory build a couple of blues. Sacrificing yellow to move those 2 greens in. Yeah, they lose so much material by doing that. That's pretty ugly. But it might be the right move anyway. I think knowing that they would need to do that should have prevented them from making their previous turn. Okay, Rather now. I think if I'm Rather, I move my large green back home, just on principle, to make sure I'm not caught without a large at home. If Ace does ever decides to get a red ship, I mean, it could happen. If they never get red, I think that's gonna my thumbnail picture is gonna will have to have something to do with having no red. All right, Ace. I think maybe they should move their green 3 into Rather's home. Maybe, or start building the blues. That is the only way that they're going to get red ships, is if they do it in a place where they've got some blue. I'm actually a little surprised Rather didn't invade Bleb, threatening to capture those nice blues. But they're thinking about moving to a new R2 system. I guess my guess is they're just spreading out their greens so that they can build back up into greens. But as they do, Ace, if they feel like matching that strategy, can spread out their greens and also be building up, and then they'll be competing with each other. Although Rather has 3 greens to Ace's 2, so I would bet on Rather getting the large ships at the end. Okay, Ace building yellow. I'll try to pick this up a little bit and not be quite so insistent on analyzing everything. Okay, I should have been paying a little more attention. Well, I forgot when Ace sacrificed that G2. Or moved it away. Maybe they sacrificed the yellow to move it away. I can't remember what happened to it. That is really odd. I think moving green to Fost. So that puts Rather's greens in a system connected to Ace's home. But frankly, I liked them better spread out so that they could build green in more places. A small at a yellow system can run away if it gets threatened. Not that Ace has any red. Yeah, I'm surprised they moved it out to a place where it seems more stuck. All right, Ace spreading out their greens, discovering a blue star. Okay, so that's nice. Ace now has access to blue in 2 systems, which seems like a big step up to me. Okay, Rather now. They could move their R2 into Bleb, start capturing blues. They're building yellow. Yeah, they've got a head start on yellow. That doesn't seem like a bad thing. Ace now trading for a blue ship. Oh, there we go. All right. That's, okay. That was, all right. I didn't see that. I didn't see that coming. Yeah, Ace is going to win, actually. I'm pretty sure Rather doesn't have anything they can do about this. Ace now has a Doomsday Machine. Ace has got 3 blues in systems connected to Rather's home. Rather cannot possibly catastrophe Ace's large yellow or any of the blues or any of the stars they're sitting at, so Rather is checkmated. Okay, they can move that red over to threaten them, which I think I suggested that the last turn. If only they had listened to me. But Ace now, yeah, should sacrifice the Y3 to move in all the blues. There they go. And there it goes. Oh gosh. All right. Well, I favored Rather's position for quite a while. But Ace's plan snuck up on me, and definitely snuck up on Rather. Yeah, all without. I'm going to check, but I am quite certain that Ace never got a red ship. I have occasionally tried winning games without ever getting a red ship against very new players, but it seems like I usually end up having to get a red ship close to the end. But Ace managed it. Good on you. All right, well, that's it for now. Thank you for watching.